Good evening. A warm welcome to the very first virtual Big Christmas Sing. My name is Debbie Rose and I'm Vocal Development Leader for Oxfordshire County Music Service. The Music Service and Christian Aid have collaborated over the past 13 years to produce an annual Big Christmas Sing. This event is a huge celebration of primary school singing across the county, which we hope will bring true festive cheer to one and all, not just in Oxfordshire, but all over the country and perhaps even further afield. We are delighted that 7 schools and 2 music service choirs are taking part in this evening's concert. We have a veritable feast of seasonal songs and carols to share with you, along with Christian Aid's thought-provoking video, which will encourage us to think of others at this time of year, reminding us all of the true spirit of Christmas. Now, COVID has meant that schools have rehearsed and recorded songs against all the odds, some only being permitted to sing outside, and most children having to remain in bubbles, making it almost impossible for choirs to sing together. But perhaps the biggest challenge for the schools this year has been recording the songs with no audible accompaniment. Instead, school music coordinators listened to the backing tracks through headphones and directed the children, who sang a cappella, which you can imagine was something of a tall order. The phrase "keep calm and carry on," in this case singing, has never been so apt. It is now my great pleasure to introduce to you Phil Evans from Christian Aid.
I'm delighted to welcome you all to this year's Big Christmas Sing, and I love the Big Christmas Sing. For me, it's the beginning of the Christmas season and it just sets everything off perfectly. And just as importantly, over the last 13 years, we've raised lots of money for some of the most vulnerable people around the world through Christian Aid. Our concert begins in the traditional manner with Once in Royal David City. The first verse will be sung by soloists from the schools. You're going to hear Amelia George from Edward Field School, Olivia Simpson and Daisy Nicholson from Lukner, Samuel Ford and Matilda Clark from Ensham, Poppy Hagan and Natalie Anderson from St Frideswides, Maya Popper and Isla Kitty Lawrence from Hagbourne, Elna Ives and Martha Jackson from Windmill, and Ava Adams from the South Oxfordshire Young Singers. Once in Royal David City.
Dwyer is the music coordinator at Windmill School. And this term she's been faced with a difficult challenge of how to include all these singers in the school choir. The choir is made up of 31 children in Year 5 and Year 6 across 6 classes. She decided to rehearse 6 socially distanced groups in the school hall, and this proved very successful. Wimble School Choir will now sing The Lights Will Lead Me Home by Lynn Marsh.
I've got another topical joke for you. Did you hear that production was down at Santa's workshop? Many of the workers had to elf isolate. Luton School's rehearsals mostly took place indoors, socially distanced, of course, but they actually recorded both outdoors and in the local church. Their music coordinator is Georgina Laws, who wrote to us to say how pleased she was that Lukna had the opportunity to be part of the Big Christmas Sing. She told us it's given the children a Christmas feel when so much is in doubt. Their song, which was written in the 1950s by Meredith Wilson, is called It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas.
Next we have Hagbourne School. Anna Sutton is their music coordinator, and she's had to work extremely hard as she's been solely responsible for directing all rehearsals with the children in socially distanced bubbles. Hagbourne's song puts me in mind of a Christmas joke. Which Christmas film was 30 years ahead of its time? It was Home Alone. The children are now going to perform Somewhere in My Memory from the film Home Alone.
The mass choirs are now going to treat us to their rendition of When I Followed the Star. Now, this song was originally written by Music Service's very own Debbie Rose, and especially composed some years ago for South Oxfordshire Youth Performing Arts, another of our county music service groups. God's love is depicted through the image of the star, and at the end, voices evoke the sound of bells. It's since been performed by many choirs all over the country.
Rosie Warrington is the music coordinator at Ensham School. She, along with Sarah Rayfield and Christine Hall, rehearsed pupils in a year group bubble, and staff all over the school remarked on how lovely it was to hear children singing again. The corridors must have been filled with the strains of this next song, which is a well-known Christmas favourite. Come and join the celebration.
St Friedwide's songs were all rehearsed in their class bubbles. Beth Taylor, who is the music coordinator, travelled around the school and initially taught the music in the doorways of each individual classroom before the class teachers, Lisa Brown, Zoe Goodin and Zenith Espinoza, took over and rehearsed the song. The children are going to sing Ring, Ring, We Are the Carol Singers by the composer of The Snowman, Howard Blake.
Ring, ring, we are the carol singers. Ring, ring, on this Christmas night. And we come to sing for you because we saw your eyes. All wrapped up in stars and gloves, against the cold protected. We'll give you holly and the only that is expected. Knock, knock, we are the carol singers. Knock, knock, with a mighty shield. We are here to bring you cheer, and though our void is filled, we'll sing you good King Wenceslas upon the feast of Stephen. And if you will not open up, we'll sing it loud and even. Bang, bang, we are the carol singers. Bang, bang, on this festive eve. Wish you all happiness. We'll sing before we leave. God rest ye merry gentlemen. Let nothing you dismay. But if you will not answer us, we will not go away. Ring, ring, we are the carol singers. Ring, ring, voices white as wine. And the sound is much improved by biscuits, cheese and wine. But should you bid us all depart, then do as if we now please. Before we sing the praise of Christmas, each in different keys. Tap, tap, we are the carol singers. Tap, tap, sing of Christmas joy. Tell of peace and happiness, for every girl and boy. Angels from around the glory, sing along the midnight clear. Tap, tap, ring, ring, knock, 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 it's there we go out here. Angels from around the glory, sing along the midnight clear. Tap, tap, tap. Ring, 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 bang, bang, knock, knock. It's very cold out here.
Oxfordshire County Youth Choir has been running online since October. It's a strange phenomenon, singing into the ether, but the singers, aged between 10 and 18, have embraced this way of working, volunteering to sing solos and demonstrating sections of the songs. The students' preferred way of seeing each other on Teams is cinema mode, where it looks as though everyone has gathered in their local Odeon to watch a movie. This reminds me of another joke. Why couldn't Mary and Joseph join their conference call? There was no Zoom at the inn. Boom, boom. It has been extremely heartening to witness the young people in the choir, their commitment and enthusiasm across the internet. And Robert Legg, my co-director, and I are immensely proud of the choir's offering. Choir will now sing On a Night Long Ago by Natalie Sleeth.
In a stable cold and bare, a long time ago, was a baby sleeping there, a long time ago. Long ago, long time ago, peace was in the air that night, a long time ago.
And now we have another chance to hear the fabulous massed choir, this time singing When Children Rule the World by Andrew Lloyd Webber. The song comes from a musical called Whistle Down the Wind, and it follows the story of an escaped criminal who shelters in a barn. He wakes to find himself surrounded by children who mistakenly think that he is Jesus. They all promise to take care of him and to keep his existence a secret. They realize that if they do everything right, they could save him, and this could be the night when children rule the world.
You've got to keep this secret. We've got to do this right. If we don't mess up, we could save his life, and this could be the night when children rule the world. This could be the night when children rule the world. Gods and kings and shepherds and wise men came together for the star. They all gathered down in the manger. They came from so very far. New Light is here, our Savior is here. He's gonna hug each boy and girl. The hunger of Christ, the lust will be blessed. The night that children rule the world. When children rule the world. Tonight, when children rule the world. All our greatest wishes are granted. Let us sing and innocence reign. All our prayers are finally answered. Let's stand free of the pain. Towers of fire, rise to the high. Magical land will be in the world. Jesus born, holding up as the star. So let children rule the world. Let children rule the world tonight. When children rule the world. Towers of fire, rise to the high. Magical land will be in the world. Jesus born, holding up as the star. So let children rule the world. When children rule the world tonight. When children rule the world. When children rule the world tonight. When children
Edward Field School's music coordinator is Jeremy Skirchley, and first and foremost Jeremy would like to apologise for causing a lot of trouble there by keeping on abandoning his class and stealing pupils from other teachers in order to practice for this evening. Most rehearsals took place in the school hall, with every possible window and external door open. One of the rehearsals involved a hasty retreat outside, with the piano having to be wheeled outside too, and the Year 6 recording was marred by a passing aeroplane. In fact, Jeremy is thinking of writing a song about this term's adventures for next year's Big Christmas Sing. The children will now sing the traditional carol, Deck the Halls.
Carol,
Oxfordshire Young Singers and South Oxfordshire Young Singers have also been rehearsing online. It's been quite a challenge for the group as the children range in age from about 7 to 11. They've had to contend with dodgy internet connections and other technical woes, but they were able to record their songs live, albeit in 2 separate groups. If your child would like to join this popular long-standing group in January, please look at the County Music Service website. The singers will now perform The Happiest Time of the Year and Troika. Millie Harris is the musical director and Sue Baker accompanies her on piano.
Ding, ding, a ding, a ding, a dong, the bells are ringing loud and clear. Ding, ding, a ding, a ding, a dong, this is the happiest time of year. Merry Christmas, one and all. Joy to each and every creature, great and small. Singing ding, ding, a ding, a ding, a dong, the bells are ringing loud and clear. Ding, ding, a ding, a ding, a dong, this is the happy time of year. Ding, ding, a ding, a ding, a dong, yeah! The night is clear and stars are shining bright on high. Twinkle, twinkle, in children's minds a sleigh and reindeer fly the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, the air is whisper, whisper, cloud is passing over. The moon excitement's growing as the troika passes by. 12 legs galloping past, 12 legs going so fast, tails and manes blowing in the breeze of the winter night, bold and wide. The night is clear and stars are shining bright on high. Twinkle, twinkle, in children's eyes a sleigh and reindeer fly the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, the air is whisper, whisper, cloud is passing over. The moon excitement's growing as the troika passes by.
Richard Liversidge at Kingfisher School was originally hoping that the school choir could take part in the Big Christmas Sing, but lockdown sadly prevented this. However, the children were allowed to sing in bubbles. And Red Class saved the day, accompanied by Corinne Watts, one of our music service teachers, on her ukulele. The children are going to sing When Santa Got Stuck Up the Chimney. By the way, why won't Santa lose any presents this year? Well, he's downloaded Sack and Trace.
When Santa Claus stuck up the chimney, he began to shout, "You girls and boys won't get any toys if you don't pull me out. My beard is black, I stuck in my sack, my nose is tickly too. When Santa Claus stuck up the chimney, achoo, achoo, achoo." On the eve before Christmas Day, when Santa Claus arrived on his sleigh, into a chimney he climbed with his sack, but he was so fat he couldn't get back. Oh, what a terrible fight! He stayed up there all night. When Santa Claus stuck up the chimney, he began to shout, "Oh, hurry please, sisters, and squeeze the reindeer stuck as well. His head's up there in the cold night air, now Rudolph's nose is blue." When Santa Claus stuck up the chimney, achoo, achoo, achoo.
this year, we've been told all through the year that we have to keep washing our hands with soap, and we have to spend 30 seconds washing our hands to make sure it's properly clean and we can't get any of the virus on our hands. But I can't do that today because I don't have any water at all. So no matter how much I rub my hands, they're still going to stay dirty. And this is a problem for Kuwait in Ethiopia. And we're going to show a video of her in a minute. Now, she has no water near to her home. So her and her children have to travel for maybe 5 hours a day to collect water and bring it back. And that's for simple things like washing hands, having a drink, washing their clothes, or even growing the crops they need to eat. But because of generosity of supporters like you, Christian Aid has been able to help them to build a pond and to have access to water and really to thrive. Now, if you want to make a donation to Christian Aid this year, please go online to the Just Giving page, www.justgiving.com/BCS Oxford. Any donation you give will also include a free entry to the raffle with fabulous prizes to win. So thank you in advance for making a donation.
Makau kawude hoyrita egdem andi ayewundala de tigayno sega maga ngo parala de ayewundala de ga ayewutta de ga inanga so ishemame pisi pewdala dinga ollingon ollagi taga ay soli hem maka para kudani ega ita kajaba yini sega man para kudani ega ajini ga ongol kam tara hayen niga haga saada meeqa asan niga onga maqay dinga qala sabanya godinga nama ga jarga takka takka mudan tigu pay debo to imma bisha janin ladi bisha ay besa qajine so roba qajine wonni qajin di sey ma wangi dam harta aturumiran odo durumuran umma tolo bisa gayni gitto to har kupaje pasin har kupe unni di sey umma bisa gayni gitto ori galla si to ga pisha antuka pisha garagal to am hella ngori sugo laada si poro fadde ngori sugo urma laba anduga urma na pawanne faddini anduga faddi to ore gafanni ga gafatto da kutte no ar koddi samay dor mana qabga man asha hawa ore mangistida disesa do di hasiga isora ar to ye samay hubunan ne so ganniga hubunan goda goniga apaga ayani so ganniga hubunan goda goni godo sikode nama para kudanga sette kay gini so ganna hala kayo lay to isu asu apaga aya ora ko jenno gani qino shaja ulad aka dagala de ngine wasiba ka de un pada mitaga inne faga de kundura ngu inini harmisan mitaga unu paqarna ni tagini ga gala daysan kala tore dila garaba yenne lupai anda ga bayo da goje de dise tabayi da elfantisi lokko de khaytaga o sigi kinna to gamaye ek olga ma khairan da ara yehu yada me qagaida wordo me qagaida sed igsa taharta banniga or guli okat hita tabayi daga okat hita to elfanti turu ko goshi daga tada si karasha shakayda dur ollin da amat harda bisho sinen opa mudanna oda horete ida qamme oda diwade ida qamme oda jaqatta de hella holisa isin jaqata ida qamme demmo seni damarra kaden manana ko konna se ganga hella yugo mela qaba hella yugo konna danga seni gamma sisa ka kuligana tamara ngana kurgutta danga ana koda bayen
Now, our final song was a great hit in Oxford Town Hall last year, and I'm really looking forward to this. It was absolutely fabulous last year. It's Feliz Navidad, and it will be sung by the massed choirs.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Cha, cha, cha.
I hope very much that you have enjoyed tonight's concert. I think you will agree that this evening has been testament not only to the power of music in bringing people together, but also to the determination and tenacity of those involved, ensuring that our children can prepare for Christmas in their schools as they would any other year. One last joke. Which government scheme supports Christmas dinner? Eat Sprout to help out. We wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a peaceful New Year.